We're live, Councilor Grow.
Excellent. Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday, July 6th, 2022 meeting of the Planning and Development Subcommittee meeting. Consistent with Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021. Actually, I like this one better. This meeting will be conducted by remote participation. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time and participate when necessary. If you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or a device, there is a raised hand button that you can tap or press to request to speak. Please use either of these options to be recognized to speak. Tonight we have with us in attendance our co-chair, what are you? You, Councilor Gilman, Councilor Tracy O'Neill, Sherry Carvelis is here. I've just lost the plot tonight. I just want to point out that we've put ourselves in a bit of a sticky situation by having established a world's record on meeting times. So we need to move very quickly tonight to beat last week's 5-minute meeting. So let's get to it. We have the first issue. Oh, actually, let me stop here for a second. We have one issue that's going to be continued. That is the City Council Order 2022-15. Mangizio section 5.11.31 inclusionary housing requirements applicability by removing the creation of, moving a net increase of, and section 511.4.1 basing requirements by removing the creation of, and 511.4.2 removing the creation of. That will be continued until August 3rd of 2022. So we will take that up again after the planning board has their way with it. The first thing on the agenda tonight is public hearing, poll petition 2022-004, request by Verizon New England Incorporated to place 2 new 4-inch conduits approximately 50 feet starting from the existing manhole 102E, located on the southerly side of Rogers Street for approximately 50 feet in a southwesterly direction onto private property at Rogers Street number 109. And with that, I will open the public hearing and ask that whether all the abutters have been notified.
Yes, the abutters were notified on June 21st.
June 21st, okay. Do we have somebody to speak on behalf of the petition from Verizon? Is that A. Marrero? A. Marrero, I don't have a first name, so if you could identify yourself and your affiliation for the record, please.
Yes, first name's Alexander, last name Marrero, M-A-R-R-E-R-O. I'm an employee of Pike Telecom and Renewables LLC, an authorized contractor for Verizon of New England Incorporated. I've been asked by Verizon to speak on behalf of this petition to place 2 4-inch conduit from the existing manhole 102E to meet conduit placed by contractors for National Grid. My understanding is they're currently building a new substation at 108 Rogers Street. So this is being done by Verizon in order to provide service for this new construction. The conduit will basically be running on the existing asphalt sidewalk from the manhole 50 feet to meet the conduit by National Grid near their property line. This will be done at Verizon's expense and the street will be repaired once completed. Do you have any questions?
We'll hold off on questions for the moment. Do we have anybody speaking in favor of this that is not Mr. Murray? Do we have anybody speaking in opposition to this poll petition? Seeing none, we'll move on. Do we have any written communications on this?
Yes, we received one from the Public Works Director, Mike Hale, and I'll share that on the screen.
Thank you.
All right, on June 17th to the P&D Committee from Michael Hale, Director of Public Works, for a poll petition 2022-004 for Rogers Street. And it reads, Councilors, the Department of Public Works has reviewed the above-mentioned application by Verizon New England, Inc. to lay and maintain underground conduits with the wires and cables to be placed therein under the surface of the following public way. Rogers Street, place 2 new 4-inch conduits approximately 50 feet, starting from the existing manhole MH102E, located on the southerly side of Rogers Street for approximately 50 feet in a southwesterly direction onto private property at 109 Rogers Street. Also for permission to lay and maintain underground conduits, manholes, cables, and wires in the above or intersecting public ways. In an attempt to maintain the quality of the city roadways, the Department of Public Works requests the following be required of the applicant. Number 1, notification to the Department of Public Works 72 hours in advance of the proposed work. A construction schedule will be prepared by the applicant for review and acceptance by the Department of Public Works. Number 2, proposed excavation may only occur during accepted road opening and construction season, 15th of March through 15th of November. Number 3, in the absence of a detailed construction plan, the Department of Public Works requests all proposed conduits and appurtenances shall be placed so as to cause minimum conflict with existing underground utility services. Number 4, all excavations must be secured at all times. Number 5, all excavated trenches shall be patched flush with the surrounding asphalt using hot mix asphalt binder at the end of each workday to minimize pedestrian hazards. Asphalt shall be applied in 2 lifts of 2 inches, totaling 4 inches. Number 6, for the length of conduit in the sidewalk, restoration must be 2 feet before the conduit begins and 2 feet after the conduit ends in front to back of the sidewalk. And number 7, all final paving shall be done in consultation with the Department of Public Works and an agreed upon final paving plan executed by the applicant. Should you have any questions regarding the conditions requested, please do not hesitate to contact my office.
Excellent. All right. So now, Councilor O'Neill, do you have any questions?
Yes, I am reading the order for conduit location. And under the foregoing permission is subject to the following conditions. Number 2, in every underground mainline conduit constructed by said company hereunder, 1 duct not less than 3 inches in diameter shall be reserved and maintained for the limited purpose of attaching one-way low voltage fire and police signaling wires owned by the municipality or governmental entity for public safety. So they're laying 2 conduit pipes, right? So is one of them for the city of Gloucester for fire and police signaling?
So can you repeat, you said mainline conduit, because this is not a mainline conduit. This is going to 109 Rogers Street. But
Yep, it says every underground mainline conduit.
so this is not a mainline conduit. This is going to private property. So there are 2 conduits. So one is going to be in service and one is going to be spare. So my understanding is that there's no conduit for the city of Gloucester at this time. This is not a main line. This is going to be in a conduit going to private property.
So should that paragraph be taken out of this paperwork?
Well, if I could, that's not part of the conditions that we have in our conditions. I think this looks like a standard boilerplate
Right.
application that was included in the application, but I don't see that as being this applicant being subject to those conditions. They're being subjected to the conditions that Mike Hale's put together.
Right, but if it has to be signed by the city clerk, right, because I'm looking at the paperwork, right?
Mhm.
And it says,
Here.
order for conduit location. I'm just thinking that whoever signs this piece of paper, Joanne,
Right.
is gonna sign that Well, I suppose if it's a main line, then
But if it's not a mainline conduit, then that wouldn't apply.
it's not applicable. Okay, all right.
Oh, yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. Good questions. I mean, I always say that things that aren't in the contract shouldn't be in the contract if you don't need them, but I don't think this applies because it's not a mainline conduit.
All right, thank you.
Good.
think
Councilor
that's it.
Gilman, do you have a question?
Yes, I have a question, Counselor, on the exact part of Rogers Street that this is located on. Do you know where this location is, in front of what buildings?
Yeah, I just looked it up. I just looked it up on Map Geo. It's right across the street from the liquor store
The
down near
liquor-
Maricold. You know, we're on Rogers Street. You know where the liquor store is? And,
Right, what-
Rose Baker Senior Center.
I think it's up a little further in front of Mass Electric.
Right. Well, it's across the street from Rogers Street from that whole section, but right that general area.
Okay, I was just wondering because I wanted to make sure it was far enough from where the sidewalk bazaar is going to be, because that might have been a week that we would prefer not to have work if it was closer to where Main Street is, where the sidewalk
It
bazaar
looks
is.
to me like it's actually right next to Gorton's,
Right,
not the liquor store. Sorry, I
Right.
misspoke.
109 Rogers Street is Mass Electric,
Yeah.
and it
Okay.
is right across from Gordon's.
So does that clarify for you?
Yep, I'm comfortable with this. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Murrow, just a quick correction. Just want to make sure you mentioned 108 Rogers Street. Did you misspeak? You meant 109 Rogers Street?
Yes, I meant 109 Rogers
Okay.
Street.
All right. I want to make sure there's no weirdness going on. Okay. With all that, any other questions from the council? No, you're all good. All right. I'm going to move that we waive the
Can you
reading.
Counsel, can you close the
Oh,
public
sorry.
hearing?
Thank you very much. Yep, I wasn't looking at my little cheat sheet here. I'm going to close the public hearing, and we're going to make a motion to waive the reading of conditions as read by Sherry Carvelis already. So with that, I'll make a motion for that.
Second.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Been moved and second to waive the reading of the conditions as listed in the motion because they were included in the letter submitted by the Director of Department of Public Works, and we need a roll call vote for that. So, Councilor O'Neill,
Yes,
Councilor Gilman,
Yes,
Councilor Gross says yes, so that's good. And with that, I'll make a motion to move to permit Verizon New England Incorporated to construct a line of underground conduits, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the public way, and to install 2 new 4-inch conduits approximately 50 feet, starting from the existing manhole number 102E, located on the southerly side of Rogers Street for approximately 50 feet in a southwesterly direction onto private property at 109 Rogers Street in Gloucester, Massachusetts, as shown on a plan included in the application dated June 6, 2002, subject to the conditions as read. And I so move.
second.
All right. Any motion's been made and seconded? Any discussion on the motion? We're all good with this? Just ask that Mr. Morero, that everybody makes a really nice effort on replacing the sidewalk as it is in a better than original condition would be great. So we'll need a roll call vote. Councilor O'Neill,
yes.
Councilor Gilman,
Yes,
Councilor Gross says yes. Congratulations, Mr. Morero. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, very good. We're not going to get done in 5 minutes, are we? Not tonight. Especially because Mr. Favaza, double header. Are you ready for this?
I am ready.
All right.
To not be the cause of a
So the second item on the agenda tonight is Special Council Permit 2022-004, Condolin Road, number 24, map 197, lot 13th, GZO section 2.3.5, section 1, junkyard in the GI, General Industrial District. And with that, we're going to ask Mr. Favaza to give us a presentation on what is happening here.
Sure. Thank you. For the record, my name is Joel Pavazza. I am an attorney at Seaside Legal Solutions with an address of 123 Main Street in Gloucester. I am here tonight on behalf of DLM Properties LLC. They own 24 Conduin Road. Tonight, I'm here before you trying to wrap up some permitting that's been ongoing for some time. This is more commonly known as the Hiltz facility out on Conduin Road. And I'll be really brief in sharing 3 quick slides with you, if that's okay. Essentially, in the early 90s, what used to be called Lot 21 was purchased by the client's predecessor, and they began using the property pursuant to a valid building permit for a transfer station. The Gloucester zoning ordinance is a little inarticulate on this, so we use the term junkyard as the closest parallel. Then in 1993, they picked up Lot 19. And as you can see from this plan, the 2 lots were to be combined in 1994, which they did. If you look at the current assessor's maps, you see that it's shown as 1 parcel. And the only issue is that the building permit for the use, which is not otherwise a by right use, only extended on the original portion of the property. And so although companies have been using the entirety of the lot, their office building, their employee parking, and previously some dumpster storage was over on this northeastern portion, it had gone since 1994 without the proper permitting. And this kind of came to light a few years ago when an enforcement order came down unrelated to this particular bit of permitting, but relating to the property. And so we have gone through the Zoning Board of Appeals. We were actually just there last week and got a unanimous vote for the requisite relief from their end to continue operating the facility as it's been on operation to date. And we are here seeking a special permit for use, a junkyard use as a city council matter. And so that requires the 1.8.3 6-factor test. Hopefully it's a pretty easy analysis as to the social economic community needs. This is the only transfer station in the city of Gloucester. It serves, it's also the largest dumpster rental business in Gloucester. So it serves commercial buildings, restaurants, that sort of thing who need a dumpster rental. It also provides a place for clean material that's otherwise not acceptable and municipal trash to be provided, a place to be thrown. As to traffic flow and safety, Conduin Road is a large, wide, and well-paved road that has been the home to this facility for decades. There's no impact to the traffic flow and safety by continuing to allow the current use to continue. All utilities on site are adequate. Again, it's been in operation for decades and there's no proposed change along with tonight's permit. As to neighborhood character and social structure, Conduin Road is the largest contiguous general industrial zone area and is intended for and home to various industrial uses, including this one. There'll be no changes to the site, so there'll be no changes to the quality of the natural environment. And for fiscal impact, it'll continue to allow local businesses and multi-unit residential buildings that need a local dumpster rental facility to have an option in town. It'll also provide tradespeople the ability to bring clean materials to be disposed of that you can't otherwise throw into municipal trash. So I think the 6-part standard in 1.8.3 has been satisfied. You can make a finding or recommend that the City Council in full make a finding that the proposed use is in harmony with the intent of the zoning ordinance and that there'll be no harms outweighing the beneficial use. And I will leave it at that for now. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Very good. Any of the councilors have any questions? Go ahead, Councilor Gelman.
Yeah, Attorney Favaz, I have a question on the remediation plan since it was cited in 2018. Can you just describe where exactly that stands today, 4 years later?
You are the last step in completing everything. The abandoned vehicles have been remediated. The dumpster storage along Conduin Road has been eliminated. The requisite zoning relief by the Zoning Board of Appeals has been granted. And this is the last step that we need the screening on the fence is up, everything that's cited in that letter, and anything that's come up subsequent to that in discussions with the building department has been checked off and completed, but for coming to the city council and getting the special permit for use to expand across the entirety of the parcel.
And I've got a second question with your permission, Council Grow. Have any of the abutters reached out to you since you noticed them?
One abutter asked what was going on. I said tonight's permitting is solely to allow what's been happening to continue happening, and they did not indicate that they had any issue.
Thank you. Those are my questions. Thanks.
Councilor Neal, you have any questions for?
No, I think he covered everything.
All right, I do. If I could, I do have a question. We're starting to see a trend in orders that have been given for remediation and then many years passing by. Is there an explanation as to why it's taken 4 years since the first notice of lack of permitting to get this far in the process?
Sure. The more expanded timeline, I believe the enforcement order came in, gosh, late 18 maybe. And so the first was there was some negotiation that went on with the building department to see what was going to be satisfactory for remediation. There was a big disagreement as to whether or not dumpsters were temporary structures. And so we had to go through basically a written determination from the building inspector, appealed that through the zoning board of appeals. They upheld, or they did not uphold, but they overturned the building inspector's definition and said they are not temporary structures. So that was a big piece of it. Then after we went through and continued permitting, we were told to go talk to the EDIC to see what they wanted to see out there. Although it's not their park anymore, they obviously have a vested interest in seeing industrial parks, be successful. So we went through a process of going to EDIC meetings, and the EDIC basically kind of punted it back to the zoning board and said, it's not our hunt anymore. It's not at our discretion to tell you what you should or should not be doing out on Conklin Road. So we got back to the zoning board during the pandemic. We received permitting, I believe that wrapped up early 21 through the ZBA. One of the conditions was at the time to become CU. However, as a side effect of all the scrutiny that's been applied to this site, the owners have been thinking, kind of in a forward direction about what is the future of this site. And one of the issues about the dumpster storage was creating additional space in the rear to pull everything off the street. And then we're going to go through the process of creating all that space in the rear. Is there, a process for upgrading the site itself? And so we began reaching out to the last mayoral administration in 21, seeking a meeting to discuss potential future expansion of the use on the site. We weren't successful in getting a meeting. The election season started heating up, and then obviously there was going to be a change in guard. So in fall of 21, we met with Mayor-elect Verga and was able to secure a meeting with their staff in April of this year. We have another meeting scheduled, I think, next week to discuss future plans. And in our meeting in April, we reiterated that we really should wrap up the prior permitting for the current use before we move forward, seeking sort of new or expanded use. So that's been the history behind this. We haven't been kind of sitting on our hands. There's been a lot of stuff moving around in the background, hopping around from different boards, and then trying to figure out the proper path forward. And again, at request of the Verga administration, they said, get your ducks in order with the current use and have a clean slate to move forward if you want to discuss a potential new use. So that's what tonight is.
Got it. Okay, so basically we're cleaning up the old past before we move on to the future.
Yes.
Just one last quick question. Who monitors the site for pollution and any sort of toxicity to the area in general? I mean,
They're governed by the Department of Environmental Protection,
DEP.
Licensing. I don't know if I want to use the word actively monitored, but certainly they have compliance standards that are through the state.
It's fine. I was just more out of curiosity. All right. Do we have any other questions that we need to ask Mr. Favazza? We feel comfortable moving forward. Does anybody feel they need to have a site visit for this?
I actually do not feel we need a site visit, but I'm just one of three. I think that nothing has changed, and, I will certainly drive by
Yeah.
before the public hearing, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I'm
What
good with
value?
it.
yeah,
I don't
I'm
think a
kind of
site
the same.
visit. Yeah.
Okay, very good. I'm in the same boat. I figure we can go by, and if anything strikes an issue, we can bring that up at that point, but I think it's fine now. Well, with that in mind, we don't need to do a site visit. We do have a public hearing advertised for July 12th. That's correct. That's the next Tuesday, yeah?
Yep.
All right. Well, with that, I'll make a motion that we move to recommend that the city council grant to DLM Properties LLC a special permit, special city council permit 2022-004 for the property located at Condon Road, number 24, Assessors Map 197, Lot 13 in the General Industrial District, pursuant to Gloucester Zoning Ordinance Section 2.3.5, Section 1, junkyard. This permit is made on the basis of plans and elevations dated September 10th, 2019, and submitted to the city clerk on June 3rd, 2022, entitled Zoning Board of Appeals Plan, subject to new information and/or debate that results from a public hearing. The special permit is deemed to be in harmony with the intent and purpose of the zoning ordinance, and I so move.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? No, we're all good.
Yeah,
Councilor Gilman?
Yeah, I'd like to just speak in support and kind of review a couple of the highlights of standards to be applied 1.8.3.
Mhm.
It's very obvious to me that Condon Road is a large, well-paved road. It's been home to this operation for decades. There will be no impact to traffic flow and safety by continuing to use it as it has been used. Utilities and infrastructure is already in place. Condon Road is the city's largest contiguous general industrial zoned area and is intended for and home to a number of various industrial uses. And there's no changes to the site at this point, no changes to the nearby natural environment. So those are all important to look at as we evaluate the special council permit. And for those reasons, and for the reasons that there will be no changes right now, it's just an administrative issue, I'll be supporting this.
Okay. Any other comments, Councilor O'Neill?
Nope.
Oh, you're good to go. All right. Roll call vote on this. Councilor Gilman,
Yes.
Councilor O'Neill,
Yes.
Councilor Gross says yes. And with that, we will move to the public hearing on July 12th and hopefully wrap this all up. All right. So third on the agenda, special council permit number 2022-005. Granite Street, number 58, map 5, lot 25, Gloucester zoning ordinance section 2.3.1, subsection 7. It is subsection, yeah, right. Conversion to or new multifamily or apartment dwelling, 4 to 6 dwelling units, and a 3.2.2 NA dimensional requirements for multifamily dwellings and their accessory uses other than signs for the conversion of a 2-family to a 4-unit multifamily in the R5 district. And with that, we have Councilor Attorney Favaza here to speak on that. Would you like to go and let us know what you got in mind?
Sure.
Councilor Grow, can I just make note that there's a Mike Becker whose hand is raised, and this is not the public hearing, but I'm not sure if you will be entertaining questions or if Mike is partnering with Attorney Favaza on this.
Mike's actually the principal behind 58 Granite Street. Mike, if you're listening to me, if you have anything you'd like added, feel free to just send me a text. I'll pick up the phone. But for now, we'll get started.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Mike Becker is the property owner?
He's the principal behind 58 Granite Street LLC,
Okay.
which is the
All right.
property owner.
Great, thank you.
So to that end, again, for the record, my name is Joel Favaza. I'm an attorney at Seaside Legal Solutions with an office address of 123 Main Street in Gloucester. I am here now on behalf of 58 Granite Street LLC, which is the record owner of 58 Granite Street. As stated by the chair, we are seeking a seeking two pieces of relief per the GZO. One is a special permit for use for a 4-unit multifamily building, and the other is for reduction in lot area and open space per dwelling unit to allow these 4 units to remain or to be constructed on the lot. I will once again share my screen, just going to walk briefly through the plans that were submitted. So this is the existing 2-family house. The top 2 pictures are taken from the Granite Street level. The lower left is taken from the Gaffney Street orientation. And I want to just point out as I go through, the proposal here is to demolish this building in its entirety. However, the building that would replace it is going to be an almost identical footprint. The biggest change will be the bay windows up front that you see now will be in a slightly different orientation, and what is now currently some decking on the side will be filled in and become building. Otherwise, it'll look very similar in a much nicer condition to what is going on currently. And the roof ridge, the roof peak will not be any higher on the reconstructed building than the roof peak of the current building. So this is a rendering of what it would look like from Granite Street. And as you can see, this is going to be a good match for what would be, so I suppose, the mirror of existing view looking down easement. This is the mirror of that on the other side. This is showing another view from Granite Street, and then also a view from Gaffney Street. Obviously, the existing Gaffney Street picture shows a stockade fence, which cuts off the bottom of the existing building. But again, I want to reiterate that the building we're showing as view of south facade is has a roof peak height no taller than the existing roof peak height of the existing building. These are more 2-dimensional shots, straight on from the rear, straight on from the side. As you can see on the right-hand side of this screen, the reason why the building appears so much taller from the rear is that the property itself drops down considerably when it goes down from Granite Street. So there are basically levels of the building exposed that otherwise are not seen from Granite Street. This is the existing footprint. There's a deck on the rear. This is the proposed footprint. The deck is going away and being replaced with a balcony. This also shows the layout of the parking. As you know, in the R5 district, which is the high density residential district, you are required to provide 1 off-street parking per unit. That means this property would be required to provide 4 off-street parking spaces for a 4-family or for a 4-unit multifamily. There are at least 6 spaces in which cars could park regularly without blocking anyone in. If you look at parking spaces 4, 5, and 6, those are garage spaces. It is very likely that 4, 5, and 6, if they chose to have a second car, could block themselves in without having to block in any other owner, right? And then obviously there's ample room in the parking lot itself. Basically, a little annotation note here, just in this area, so that if there was a snow emergency and there were additional cars, there's plenty of room. By our estimation, you could pretty easily get 10 cars off the street into this driveway and into these garages in the event of a snow emergency where all cars had to be removed. But again, the requirement is only 4. There are 6 unobstructed. Again, I would suggest that you most likely will find that there's room for additional cars here, but those don't count as qualifying spaces. So 6 is the number that is going to be the number used. But I want to make sure that it's not, considered an only 6 situation. The 6 is not a squeeze. The 6 is actually just the beginning of what the parking opportunities are on this site as proposed. The other bit of relief we talked about besides the special permit for use is the reduction in space. This is just the dimensional table that was submitted to the Zoning Board of Appeals. We're going to the ZBA also. They have to give a pile of relief also, as you can see from the non-highlighted rows in this table. But these are the two highlighted rows are the ones that we would come to the city council for relief on. And again, it's open space per dwelling unit and lot area per dwelling unit. And so the standard when you're looking at whether or not you can grant a reduction in lot area and or open space per dwelling unit, you have to decide whether or not it is in keeping with the density and character of the neighborhood. So this is pulled from MapGeo. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Give me 1 second. This is pulled from MapGeo, and as you can see, sorry guys, I didn't mean to highlight it. It's a pretty dense neighborhood. This is just the same exact shot with the actual buildings and driveways overlaid. And so, as you can see, there's not a whole lot of open space. There's not a whole lot of really even conforming, there's a few 5,000 square foot lots in this R5 district. I think across the street, again, I have not measured all. I think you might be good here. I think Frank Shimataro's got a 5,000 square foot plus lot there, but otherwise, almost everything is undersized. And then I'll point out that this triangular lot holds 3 units. This rectangular lot holds 2. This rectangular lot holds 2. So basically between the most immediate abutters, you have 4 units of housing right in this little rectangle itself. You have another 3 inside this triangle right here. And we're asking to put 4 inside this box here. So I would say that as far as keeping with the density of the neighborhood, we're pretty on track. And again, this is obviously as the R5 neighborhood, which per the zoning ordinance is designed to receive multifamily high density housing. I do have queued up in case anyone has any questions, the floor plans showing the lower level for the garage, showing the various living levels all the way through to the top floor. And then we have, again, just another set of 2-dimensional from the opposite end renderings, both the Granite Street side and the other side elevation. And if you need to refer back to those, I can always put them back up. But I'll leave it there for now, and I will just start addressing, obviously we have the 1.8.3 standards again for this one. So as to the social, economic, and community needs, this will take an unsafe building. That structure is no longer safe, and it will replace it with a code compliant, modern construction building that'll have 4 code compliant, modern dwelling units in it that addresses the need for additional housing in the city. It also addresses the need across the city to remove unsafe housing from circulation. Traffic flow and safety. Again, we are only required to provide 4 off-street parking spaces. There will be 6 compliant off-street parking spaces for 150% of the requirement. And in practicality, room for about 10 cars in the case of a snow emergency or other gathering that requires additional parking. There's no need to upgrade the utilities and infrastructure. We are in a downtown, densely developed neighborhood. Sewer is there, electricity is there, natural gas is there. As for neighborhood character and social structure, as I mentioned, we are in the R5 district, which is called the quote highest density residential district according to the GZO and designed for multifamily use. So we're meeting the on paper definition of the neighborhood. And as I pointed out with the abutting properties, we're also meeting the practical character of the neighborhood, which is dense housing. Qualities of the natural environment. There will be some loss of green space, but that is a requirement for creating this abundance of parking. And otherwise no impact. There is no wetlands implications or anything like that to consider. And then the last part is the potential fiscal impact. And so you have a couple of things here. One, there's allowing the 4 units required allows my client to be able to pencil in basically what it's going to cost to remediate the existing building. I suspect there are some, probably some asbestos shingles on the side. It's all going to require special remediation. And so for someone to demolish a building of that size, you have to make sure that it's going to be financially viable in what you replace there. I would also point out the construction of smaller units instead of 2 large units, instead of going for 2 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath large units, the market will trend to keep the prices a little more reasonable. Obviously reasonable is subjective. Again, it'll be as compared to what you would otherwise do with a two-family of that size. Any renter and or purchaser is going to have a lower nut to crack than they would if it was remaining as 2 units only in a building of that size. And of course, the rebuild plus the unit creation, you'll get increased tax revenue just from reassessing the property. And then this is that, always helpful new growth, tax growth, where they can actually add to the base beyond our 2.5% annual limit for raising the taxes. So I think with that, we have met the requirements for section 120.3, which would be governing the use, allowing you to recommend the city council make a finding that the proposed use is in harmony with the intent of the zoning ordinance. And as discussed previously, I think you can also make the finding that the reduction in lot area and open space per dwelling unit is also in keeping with the neighborhood. And per that footnote A, you can reduce those numbers as well. And so I'll leave it at that. If you have any questions, I'm happy to help.
All right, excellent. We have any questions from the councilors? Councilor Gilman? I'm not hearing you.
I had to put the fan on because it's very hot up here, and so I muted myself. Attorney Favazza, when did this go to the ZBA, just so I might be able to watch the Zoom meeting before the public hearing?
I believe we are at the ZBA a week from tomorrow on the 14th.
Okay, so you're introducing this kind of at the same time that you're bringing it through the Zoning Board of Appeals?
Yes, my understanding is that we were on a later public hearing with the council than the last application I was on. If we're on for the 12th, that was I may have been sooner than I thought. I thought it'd be a site visit. So I wanted to get to you guys on the 6th in case you wanted a site visit. Meanwhile, I'd hit the ZBA on the 14th, get that wrapped up, and then hopefully come see you guys again and finish up. Certainly, I'm not looking to put the brakes on if you guys think you'd like to see me sooner than that, but assuming that there's gonna be a site visit involved, it seemed like the right way to do it. See you on the 6th, ZBA on the 14th, hopefully get back to you on the 20th.
Okay, so that answers my question, and through the chair, I would personally like to have a site visit for this, just because of the density and looking where the parking will be, and so I'll look forward to that, Joel.
Councilor O'Neill, do you have anything to ask at this point?
Yes, I'm looking at the plans right here now. So 4 units, are they like 3 stories each? 3 stories?
Yeah, so right now they are narrow and tall units. There'll be 4 side by side.
Right,
The idea being let everyone get the view from up there is gonna be something spectacular. So let everyone get a glimpse of that top floor. Let everyone have kind of close access to the ground parking, and then avoid the issue of having people stacked on top of each other, which sometimes leads to conflict.
right, that's good. Hold on, I'm going through these. The peak of the current house, I drove by the way, and I've noticed that house for quite a while, so I know exactly the
Hard to
house
miss.
that it, yeah. Has it been condemned?
Nope.
No? All right. The peak of the current house. It looks like the new drawings for the new house are just as high as the peak as the current house. So you're not going any higher, but you're just extending the peak, so to speak, so that you can
Yes.
get more. Okay,
So right now, the peak, the highest point runs
Yep.
in orientation of from Granite toward Gaffney. That peak is the highest peak.
right. No, I get it. I
That
totally
peak's
get it.
gonna rotate, that peak's gonna stay there, but 90 degrees, when the dormers and stuff come out the other way, it'll match that. Right now, the
Yep.
roof lines that run left and right of that are a little lower. Those are gonna come up to meet the not going higher.
All right. There was something else I wanted to ask, sorry. I'm just scrolling through here. Nope, I guess I don't have anything else to ask. I thought oh yeah, so I'm looking at the plans. I get the second floor. I have to make it larger. The proposed second floor, that's a bedroom, right, with a bathroom in each dwelling, correct?
Yep.
And then the third floor, looks like it has, each bedroom has a bathroom as well. Is that right?
That's correct.
Wow. Okay. Lucky them. Okay, yeah, that's the question I had. All right, thank you.
Very good. I just have a pending the site visit. Can you explain a little bit more about how the parking in the driveway is going to be configured off Gaffney Street?
Sure. So the property owners have already worked out an easement with neighboring property owners that will allow them to come across the lot that abuts Gaffney Street and this property. So that's how they get onto the back of the lot, which currently, is grass and such. So they can come off Gaffney for the rear parking spaces, across an easement onto the back of the lot. And then if you're in your car and you're facing the building, you'll see the 3 garage doors and you'll see 2 open air spaces to your right. And then obviously on the complete other side, if you come on Granite Street, there's 1 space on Granite Street next to an entry porch. And that'll be given to the unit that makes the most sense, most likely the closest to that spot.
Mm-hmm. Can you pop that up on Map Geo
Sure
for a
thing.
second, just to see that a bit more clearly?
Yeah,
Looking at
one moment, please. The idea is that there's an easement that will allow travel from Gaffney onto this property. And then there'll be a parking space here, here, garage, garage, garage.
Got it. And then one in there. Okay. Good. Also, O'Neill, yeah?
Yeah, can you put that back up? Sorry.
Sure thing, sorry.
Yeah, because I drove down Gaffney Street. Is there a structure in the backyard, like a little shed in the backyard?
Yes, so there is a
Okay,
pretty
Does
large,
that-
this will have to get relocated or removed.
okay. That belongs to 58 Gaffney as well?
And yeah, it belongs to the neighbor here. Granted,
Yeah, sorry, Granite.
well, it's not belonging to Grant, again, the easement goes through that area.
Right, and that's a perpetual easement, correct?
Yep, yeah, and we would
So
obviously,
that's like, has no end to it, so that's in perpetuity or whatever, right?
yeah, we'd obviously take a condition for the final decision, that the city be provided evidence of the perpetual easement in place to allow for the parking.
That's terrific. Okay, thank you.
All right.
And a big thank you to the neighbor, obviously, for making this possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Val, I muted you because of the fan was making noises. Do we have any other questions at this point? And then if not, let's think about a date for a site visit. It sounds like you're counting money over there, Val.
What, with my fan?
Yeah, doesn't it sound like you have a money counter, don't you, Joel?
Go some this way.
We have a money counter, but we don't have any money.
Been watching a lot of Jason Statham movies lately, so. All right, so what do we have for timing for a site visit? Is ZBA going to be having a site visit, do you think?
Unlikely.
Okay, all right. And we are anticipating a public hearing. What you would like? I imagine you'd like yours on the 26th.
Yeah, that'd be great.
No, we meet again on the 20th. Yes, is that right, Sherry? So
Correct.
we could have it sometime next week. I am stupidly available. So I'm always a big fan of sooner rather than later. Tracy, you and Joel probably have the worst schedules to work around. What's best for you?
Well, afternoons, obviously, or early evening is best for me.
5 in the morning, is that also a good time for you?
No, I'm booked.
Oh, shoot, okay.
Seriously, I'm booked.
Okay.
Hold on. So we have city council next Tuesday. The ZBA is next Thursday. Do we want to have it before the ZBA?
It
I
doesn't,
could do Monday or Wednesday at like 5:30 or,
Monday at 5:30, does that work for everybody?
Yeah, I like Monday. Joel,
Okay.
can you get the info out to the abutters? To let them know?
So tomorrow's Thursday, so if we mail it out tomorrow, you know, they'll probably have mailboxes on Saturday.
Is that enough time? Sherry, we good with that?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. 5:30 and 11 o'clock at Granite Street. That sounds good to me.
what's 11 o'clock? What?
I said 5:30, sorry, on the 11th. I'm looking at
5:30
my
and the
calendar.
11th, okay.
All right, good. Site visit. 58 Granite.
Calendars are new to me. I'm still getting used to them.
And,
5:30, 11 o'clock. I mean, 5.
And where should we park, so we don't get anybody upset?
Daphne Street?
The park line, yeah, Gaffney, you know, a little bit on Granite, but probably the Gaffney Street area. Hampton Street, there's room, usually on-street parking in Hampton Street.
Okay,
Right.
The high school, you can park at the high school and walk over if it's not raining or 90 degrees.
You said there's a parking space out front, right on Granite Street?
Not currently, but yes, there will be one
Oh,
constructed.
wow, okay.
So Monday, July 11th, 5:30 PM, Granite Street. We'll meet at the front entrance of Granite Street.
Okay.
And yeah, if you can get those butter notifications out there quickly so we can have people show up if they need to. Is there anything else at this point? We'll continue this until the next, yeah, go ahead.
can we just ask, that Sherry notifies the rest of the council, just to let them know in case any of them would like to attend?
Sure.
Sure. We
I
will
have a question if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Would you like me to bring some
Max?
printed sets
Oh,
of the plans? Or will everyone have their
Sure.
iPad?
yeah. No. Now, if you have them handy, I'd bring those because I think that's easier than trying to. Is that handy for you? Is that
Yeah.
relatively easy?
I like that suggestion.
And there will be snacks.
I'll bring some snacks, Jason.
Okay, wait a
All
minute.
right.
So you guys were breaking up a little. What are we? What'd you guys just say? Are we bringing?
Joel's
I'm
gonna
gonna bring some
bring.
plans.
He's
Okay,
gonna bring some physical
All right.
plans. Val's gonna bring snacks.
okay, you're gonna bring the drinks?
No, that's
Joel
Jeff
can bring-
Workley's job.
Joe can bring the ice and I'll meet you all there.
All right, very good. Well, with that, and so when then we'll pick this up again on the 20th at the P&D meeting following the site visit, and with luck we'll have it noticed for the 26th public hearing.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Excellent. Anything else we got going tonight? Thanks, Joel.
Thank
Joe.
you.
Thank you.
All right, you disappeared on us. All right, with as long as there's nothing else to be discussed at this point.
Counselor, we do have a Suzanne Genovese who has her hand raised. I don't know if you are entertaining, questions only tonight.
If Ms. Genovese would like to speak, I'm happy to entertain a question. Go ahead. Ms. Genovese, if you could identify yourself for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Suzanne Genovese and I live at 56 Granite Street.
Okay.
Okay.
I own two properties that abut this property.
Uh-huh.
And at the time that you do a site visit, is it possible
Yep.
to talk or no?
We, generally speaking, we will allow questions only. It's generally not a place for a deliberative kind of conversation. So if you feel strongly about the situation either way, you can do one of two things, and I suggest both of them, frankly. Attend the site visit, actually three things. Attend the site visit and ask any questions through me that you have that we will then pass on it to the attorney to get answered. We don't always necessarily answer those questions at the site, depending on how complicated they are, but we'll try to get as many answers as we can that night or that day. The second thing is I would suggest that you can send a message through the city clerk's office to all the counselors if you have any particular issues that you'd like to be addressed. And also then, of course, I would suggest you speak at the public hearing, which at this point, we're going to put it on track to be the 26th of July. So those would be the best ways that I would suggest that you reach the council with any concerns, questions, comments, support, opposition, all that. That way everybody gets a handle on it at the same time.
Okay, great. No, I think it's going to be great. There's just a few things.
Okay, nope, and it's fair to bring those up at the meeting, and again, that's 5:30 on the 11th of July.
And I'll bring the ice.
Okay, excellent.
Oh, good.
Holy moly, we need a sign-up sheet.
Suzanne,
Yes, yes.
do you know the address, the email address of the city clerk?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's jsenos, SENOS, at Gloucester hyphen
Mhm.
ma.gov.
GOV.
Great.
All right.
And
Okay, thank you very
she'll
much.
distribute it to all us counselors.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right.
Great.
Thank you very much now.
Thank you. I move to adjourn.
Wait, did we vote on this?
Oh,
No,
we're not voting till after the site visit.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's okay. Unless you want to, you stay on and vote. You want to second the motion to adjourn?
Second,
There we
Yes,
go. All
absolutely.
right. Everyone, roll call vote. Counselor Gilman.
yes.
Counselor O'Neill.
Yes,
Counselor Gross says yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Sherry Carvelis, for your patience as always.
thank you, Sherry.
We'll see you on
Thank
next
you.
night.
All right, see you
Good
guys.
night, everyone.
Everybody.
Night.
Good to see you all. Bye.
Bye.